Hey, I'd like to welcome you to another episode of Money Matters Top Tips for Success, where each and every day I bring on new business owners, entrepreneurs, and executives and have them share their top tips for success with you. My name is Adam Torres. You can follow me on Instagram at AskAdamTorres to keep up with my book releases, book tour schedule, signings, all that other good stuff. Always love to connect with you there. And as always, if you'd like to apply to become a co-author of one of my upcoming books, just head on over to the website, moneymatterstoptips.com, and click on Become an Author to apply. All right, so today is a very, very special reunion 2020 edition. So what is that? That's when I had a guest on in the past, and I liked him so much I had to bring him right back on. So today I have Reggie Thornton on the line, and he's Director of Brand Licensing over at LMCA. Reggie, welcome back to the show.
Adam, thank you so much for having me, and Happy New Year.
Oh, man, Happy New Year. And when I saw your proposed interview topic, George Foreman's knockout formula, I was like, oh, come on, Reggie. We'll spend 2 days on this one. I love it. You know I like to pick your brain.
Oh, man, I appreciate that. Thank you so much for having me, and thank you also, too, just for what you do. I think you bring a lot of voices to professionals, and it's a good opportunity really for others to hear others' experiences and get tips and advice, and it's just sometimes good to understand what other people do.
That's awesome. I really appreciate that. And I don't want to assume that everybody heard your first episode. I think we recorded that, I don't know, maybe a year ago. So let's just start off with jumping right in. Let's get into what you're doing over at LMCA, please.
Yeah, no, that's good. I had a chance to listen to the last time that we spoke, and at that time we talked about gap years between college and kind of starting your professional life, and I did a gap year and down in Key West, and that would be a whole nother podcast. So yes, LMCA, things are going great. If those that don't know what LMCA is, we're a brand licensing agency here in New York City. Really, brand licensing narrows down to matchmaking, and I'm very excited to share a little bit about one company and one brand, which is Real-Time Pain Relief, and then George Foreman, who most know, which is a brand himself. So that's what we've been kind of working on, and I would love maybe, Adam, just to share a little bit. I think talking about that particular deal can maybe help people understand kind of what brand licensing is about.
Man, that's exciting. And yeah, let's jump right in. And in the pre-show, for the audience that obviously they weren't listening, we weren't recording yet, Reggie said, so Adam, what's the end goal here? We see the podcast is growing. I see what you're doing. I'm over here thinking to myself, Reggie, the end goal is to get big enough to work with you, man. I know you work with big brands. so that being said, now tell me about George Foreman, please.
Oh, man. Well, you know what, man? I think George Foreman kind of sums up what you're doing, man, which is it's just been a grind, man, in terms of what he came from and to all the things that he's been able to achieve. Obviously 2-time heavyweight champion, Olympian prior to that, pitchman. People don't recall. Remember, he was the guy that said, "I'm not going to pay a lot for that muffler." Entrepreneur with over 150 million grills sold. Probably, one of the most successful post-career athletes. I think maybe a few months ago I read somewhere a quote from Dale Earnhardt Jr. who said, every athlete dreams of a George Foreman grill type licensing opportunity. And, I think on top of that, George is just really a great American, great humanitarian, and probably the best sells, celebrity person out there. And, part of my job is to really look at, all that brand equity and all the brand awareness that George Foreman has, and we say, okay, what partner, right, because brand licensing is a lot about matchmaking, who do we match him, up with, and what makes sense, for the George Foreman brand. And then, obviously with all that success as a boxer, clearly he took a lot of hits, although he hit people many more times than he was hit. but nevertheless, it's a guy that knows pain, and so pain relief made sense. And then it was a matter of trying to figure out, okay, who's a good match that's in that industry, and company that out of Oklahoma called Real Time Pain Relief, a very mission-driven brand. I say that because their whole purpose was really to try to create alternative remedies versus popping Advil and doing kind of the opioids thing. So very much kind of mission-driven, an emerging brand, proven product. People that have used it love it, and I'll send you some samples as well, Adam. So all those things said, okay, this is a good company, and then the company then says, okay, well, why partner with George? Obviously, we get all of this, but the end goal for them is that this can help them expand more into retail. They can expand their distribution, and they can really leverage all the things that George brings to the table. And what the result of all that is Real Time Pain Relief came out with their most effective pain relief formula, which is called the George Foreman's Knockout Formula, and it's by Real Time Pain Relief. So that's just, and hopefully I didn't talk too much on that, but it's something we're very excited about as an agency, and I think it just in a very simplistic way, hopefully it conveys to your listeners kind of what brand licensing is about.
I absolutely love it, and I've checked out the website, so rtpr.com, and I love. I'm just going to throw this out there, like for the nostalgia. I mean, number one, I just love seeing that video of George on there. I don't care in the blue lab coat, like it just warms my heart. And then the packaging and the design. Obviously, I would expect nothing less from you and your team, but I'm looking at the George Foreman Knockout Formula bottle. I'm like, yeah, you better. When you were saying that, I wrote a note down. Email Reggie, remind him I want my samples.
Absolutely, man.
I am not joking, but so
absolutely, and it made sense, right? Because George, wants to be behind wants to be behind products that are proven.
And you said an Oklahoma company too, so it's right here. I mean, it's just all the things that you said just add up. Like there's so many boxes you check to put together a deal like this. It's not a matter of just putting somebody with a product. I mean, you could just see the thought that goes into when something's done right. Because when something's done wrong, well, we're not going to go into that in this episode, but we've all remember certain things that have just been disastrous, and then we see when things like this happen, and it works.
Absolutely, and we all have our our BS detector up, so to speak, and we can see when brands are doing things that don't seem authentic and true to what we expect that brand to do. And today in a very competitive retail environment, brands can't afford to make that mistake. So part of what we do as an agency is try to be strategic and try to do what makes the most sense for our partner, George Foreman, and for our partner as well in Real Time Pain Relief.
I want to ask this question from the standpoint of, because on my side, I mean, this one makes too much sense to even ask the question from obviously the talent George Foreman side, because he just matches with the product. It's perfect. I mean, it's a match made in heaven right there. But from the business side, for a lot of business owners, a lot of entrepreneurs, a lot of executives, large companies listening, and they may have products they're developing, and they may have in their mind ideas for talent or the right fit or things that they have in their mind. How does a big company like that even go about thinking about what it looks like to match a talent like a George Foreman or something like that with a product they have? Because it's also a big commitment, obviously. It's literally a marriage.
Yeah, it's a good question. I don't know if there's really one answer to it. I'll give a answer. I think that you kind of have to have your thing going on, so to speak, right? Meaning that you as a brand have to have kind of what we talked a little bit about before. You build your community up, you build out who your base is, your foundation, and you build, right? I think those companies, then you're looking for that rocket fuel, right? That thing that can say, okay, how can we exponentially, grow this? And there's several things that would be on the table, but one person, or multiple people may say, hey, what about a celebrity? That makes sense. Then I think at that point it's really about saying, okay, does that particular celebrity, does that celebrity's brand fit the attributes? Does it match the character and the DNA of who we are as a company? Because if that doesn't happen, I think right there, that's not the person for you, right? No matter what, that's just not the person for you. I think the second thing you want to really look at and really give some serious thought to is how much will this make a difference, right? When I take this product and I attach this product and I speak to buyers, our buyers move to it. Buyers are going to be like, okay, what's the relevancy of this person? What's the track record of this person? What's that person's involvement in that role? I think a lot of times, too, it's funny, in an industry today, we had a webinar earlier where we were talking about influencers. I think people really have to give thought to, who in their industry are the niche players, these people that are known in my industry and in what I'm trying to accomplish. I tried to pack a whole lot in there. Hopefully that made sense to you, though.
No, absolutely. So, Reggie, that being said, appreciate it today. Appreciate your time. Great catching back up with you, man. I love doing these reunion 2020 edition issues, and we got to talk before 2021 comes around. So,
Adam,
to make sure that happens.
Thank you, man. I think it's very awesome. What you do. Again, I respect the grind and the hustle. I think it's awesome to see, how your base and is just growing and growing, and the popularity of the podcast is growing. It's awesome to see, and I'm glad I could be a very small part of it, but I appreciate it.
Thank you, and appreciate that. And to the listeners, as always, without you, there's no show, so keep listening, number one. Subscribe to the podcast. We also launched the YouTube channel recently, so Money Matters Top Tips. Be sure to go over there, leave us some comments, hit the subscribe button. Love to talk to you and engage with you there also. And Reggie, thanks again for coming on the show. Appreciate your time today.
Thank you, Adam.